The name of the game is survive in advance in the college football playoff. Texas doing just that against a scrappy, frisky, gritty, good Arizona State team. Final score in Atlanta, 39-31 after not one, but 2 OTs. So what do you make of this if you're a Texas fan? I think there's probably a lot of different emotions, definitely throughout the course of this game. I think there's probably a number of different emotions you feel after this game, and it's probably some that are conflicting. We'll do our best to unpack this game itself together from a Texas side of things. I also want to touch on Arizona State just a little bit here because they were freaking awesome. But first things first, make sure you are dialed in to this channel, the On3 YouTube channel, to the show, The Hard Count. College football, nothing but college football all year long. We appreciate you for being subscribed. Also, hey, follow me on the socials, Instagram, Twitter, @JDPicKell. Want to hear from y'all there. Appreciate all of y'all in advance for that. So here's, I think, the headline for me coming out of this thing if I'm Texas. Played poorly, found a way. Played poorly, found a way is probably the t-shirt I would print if I were selling them after the game. Because Texas, really for 3.5 quarters, outside of the hot start where you get the Matthew Golden RPO dagger, and then you hit the over-the-top to Moore, and then you got the return from Bolden. Like, after that fireworks start, it was kind of like, okay, so what else are we doing in this game? Texas did not score another touchdown until the fourth quarter. And honestly, if you're Texas, like, you cannot afford to play that way another week. Like, you found a way today against Arizona State. You can't fly that close to the sun against Ohio State. We're recording this after Ohio State just did what they did to Oregon and beat them by 20 points. Like, yeah, you got to bring it. You got to bring it against that operation. So Texas really wasn't themselves or didn't look like they were all the way in rhythm for, call it, 3.5 quarters. Some of that is Texas not executing. I think a lot of that, though, is Arizona State. Like, don't let the logo fool you. Arizona State's a freaking good football team, man. Like, Sam Leavitt, I left that game a massive Sam Leavitt fan. And I know there's the whole deal that Texas fans feel about the way that he was talking his cash during the week, but like, just as someone who doesn't have a dog in the fight, I love his swag, I love his demeanor, I love his playmaking ability, I love the way he kept plays alive. I loved everything that he did in this football game. Cam Scadaboo wore this Texas defense down quite a bit as the game progressed, and I think that if you're a Texas fan, at the very least, you leave with a lot of respect for Cam Scadaboo, the way that he plays the game, the way he finished this game, quite frankly. Kenny Dillingham, man, the way he emptied the binder, said, nope, we're not leaving this stadium with the halfback pass in the playbook, not leaving this stadium with our fake punt in the playbook backed up on our own 21. That's a scrappy, good Arizona State team. So are they as good as Ohio State? I would have a hard time getting behind that notion. But I don't think this is some situation where you just say, Arizona State, whatever. I did a little bit of that going into this thing, and as this game progressed, my eyes were very much so open to how good Arizona State, I think, truly is. So, a lot to unpack on the Texas side. Kind of touched on it a little bit. Let's start with just like we'll go bad to good here. We'll do the bad up front, the good on the back end. The bad is that Texas is not just inconsistent, but they require something external to get rolling, from what I can gather. Because I can live with inconsistent, man. College football is one of the most inconsistent, most imperfect sports in the world, man. Why we love it. Got 18 and 22-year-olds lining up every fall Saturday, running full speed into each other. Like, yeah, there's going to be some imperfections. I can live with inconsistency. The frustrating thing is when we see Texas get squeezed a little bit, they turn it on, they start playing better, which is awesome, right? It's great to have that trait within you, but there's a part of me sitting here from a Texas fan like, dude, why does it take that for us to find it a little bit offensively? Why does it take Arizona State storming back from, 8-24 or something wild like that? Like, why does it take that kind of a comeback for us to have this, let's start picking it up here kind of moment? And I don't think it's quite as cut and dry as that, but that's the way it looked from the outside. And whether it's a thing where it took that long for them to figure Arizona State out, whether that's a thing where it took so long for them to create some sort of aggressiveness offensively, a little bit concerning to me. However, the good news is, if you're Texas now, you will have all the urgency and then some when it comes to this game against Ohio State. All right, we said at the top of this thing, if you watched that Rose Bowl, you know Ohio State's going to be a wagon. If you didn't feel that way before, you feel that way now. Currently, they're the favorite to win the whole darn thing. Ohio State and the challenges they'll present to Texas, I think, are intriguing. The bottom line for me, though, is Quinn Ewers has got to be a little bit more smooth, if that makes sense. Like, when I watch Quinn Ewers in this game against Arizona State, just felt a lot like I'm sitting shotgun with someone who doesn't totally know how to drive stick. Like we have awesome plays here. We got the shot to Golden. I mentioned the shot to Moore. We have some phenomenal throws. We drops in the bucket to Golden down towards the end of the game, and then it's like, well, in between those, we have the interception. We got a ball thrown into double coverage. A couple of those deep shots, double coverage. Like it felt super clunky and super awkward throughout the game. But then you look up at the end of the game and you're like, okay, so Quinn Ewers finished with 4 total touchdowns, over 300 yards passing. That's like that. You'll take that every single day of the week, but you do just feel a little bit like, okay, can we have a little bit more smooth sailing, a little more, a little less variance, I should say, if you're watching the Texas offense. And in some small part, maybe that's on the run game, maybe that's on the plan going in. I don't know what you pin it on. I'm not telling you I have the answer, but I do think that if you want to beat Ohio State, you don't do it with a clunky kind of approach offensively with Quinn Ewers. That's not me telling you bench Quinn Ewers. I'm saying Quinn Ewers has to play at a higher level, making sure we are being very clear on how we worded that. So, going forward now, it's going to be a great test for Texas. That's pretty obvious. I think the urgency there will be massive, like I already mentioned. The matchups we'll get to here as we move forward when it comes to what Texas is against Ohio State. But Arizona State being able to take away the run, that's another part of this where I'm like, okay, would like to see a little bit more of that punch-you-in-the-face approach from this Texas offense. Now, here was the big talking point towards the end of this thing. Michael Taft, safety for Texas, rolls up and tackles Arizona State, I believe it was Stovall, knocks him down and has a big tackle towards the end of the game. And the conversation as that happened was, well, hey, is that targeting? And I believe during the broadcast, even the ESPN, I think it's Bill Lamagna jumps on there. It's like, yeah, it looks like targeting to me. And I'm sitting there at home watching it, and I'm like, man, is this really how we want to decide this game? And again, I'm watching the hit, and I'm not here to do the whole breakdown of like forcible contact at the head or neck area, this target. Like Kenny Dillingham takes the podium post game and is like, listen, I don't think any of us, I don't know what targeting actually is. Like we all have different definitions of it. It feels like every single Saturday. I will say this though, I have seen more egregious hits, more intense hits, what seems to be more violent hits towards the head or neck area that aren't called. If Gunnar Stockton's not complaining about targeting after being decapitated in the SEC championship game by Andrew Makuba, for that not being targeting, then I think we can probably be okay with the reality that targeting wasn't called here, is my opinion. Didn't look malicious, didn't look dirty. He didn't just leave his feet and spear with the absolute crown of his helmet into the guy's chin strap. It was what it was. Also, I can already hear the comments on YouTube and Twitter. Player safety. What do you want the guy getting hurt? No, I don't want the guy getting hurt. Also, it's worth noting the guy Stovall was in the game and actually went to him for the final play, of this game. So, with that being the case, to bring home the point I'm trying to make here, I am really okay with awesome games not being decided by refs making a targeting call, especially if it's what I just mentioned. Not egregious, not even apparently a targeting call at all. If you're not sure about if it's a targeting call or not a targeting call, you got to go review it and all that stuff and have this big conversation, big to do, like a true review about it. Then let's not decide a college football playoff game where both teams are battling tooth and nail by the ref show. I want college football games decided by college football. And that's what we got here. If you want to turn it around and say ball don't lie, Bert Auburn missed that field goal. That was the opportunity for Texas to win the game in regulation. Then we say, okay, the targeting is what did it. You had 2 overtimes. So if you're still pointing to targeting, and you want to talk about the targeting, again, we can agree to disagree there. The one thing I will say, though, is let's not go down the rabbit hole of this is some SEC conspiracy theory, because I've seen some of that out there. Not here for it. I think it's a waste of time. This is a Big Ten crew. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. This was an awesome game played by 2 elite competitive teams, great coaches, great quarterbacks, and it was cinema in every single sense of the word. It was what I assumed the Oregon-Ohio State game was going to be. Instead, we got it Freaky Friday style from Texas and Arizona State. So, big one on the horizon for Texas. They are currently, we're doing this on, what is today? Wednesday? I guess New Year's Day. Wednesday, 8:48 Central Time. We are recording this. And Texas is a 5.5-point dog. Interesting. Very interesting. Steve Sarkisian, if he needed urgency, bulletin to the board material, any of that, wonder if that maybe doesn't help cork the bat a little bit. Just saying. Let me know your thoughts, though, on the phenomenal people that we saw. Appreciate y'all being dialed in. Make sure you are subscribed. Back on the air live tomorrow morning. Want y'all a part of it. Best way to be a part of it by being subscribed. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.